All right. Good morning, anybody who has joined and anybody who does join. My name is Jason. I go by Jersey Boy, and this is my mental health podcast, episode 4. Grateful today to be able to give you a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is losing a parent while you're an adult. Now that most parents are lost as you're an adult, but it's been 4 years since my mother passed away, so that's going to be the topic today and kind of what I'm going through with that. To begin with, my disclaimer: I am not in any way a medical professional. This is my opinions, my experience, and what I can share that maybe other people aren't comfortable talking about, but I have no issue. I have been through a lot. I have bipolar disorder that presents as mania, comes on as severe depression at times. My anxiety is through the roof. I'm a recovering drug addict, so I can't have anything that helps my ADD. Chemically, there's a lot of other things that I try. And I've just been through some stuff that I don't have any shame to talk about. I recover loudly, and that's both with mental health and with substance abuse. So, yes, the disclaimer. These are my opinions, thoughts. I'm not a medical professional. Any advice given is just general advice in regards to mental health and my experience with it. All right, on to the next part. 3 things I'm grateful for. Now today I did think some on the 3 things I'm grateful for. One of the things I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for the gift of determination to do this. For whatever reason, well, I know the feeling in my heart. I have been determined and on time and more organized than most things in my life with this new podcast. So if this helps anybody out there, just know that it's helping me just as much. It gives me structure and a goal and something to look forward to. The second thing I'm grateful for is that last night I was going through some stuff and I found an old card that I carried around in my wallet for a long time. Now, since this is going to be on YouTube Music, I know the eventual end users aren't going to be able to see this, like my live viewers or my YouTube viewers. But I have a card and it is tattered. It is worn. This thing, I carried this thing around and I have no clue. It was folded up like this. I almost threw it away because I thought it was like a piece of rubber, like just some gunk or something, you know. But it's a quote by Leonardo da Vinci, and it, again, once in my life, I've probably had this card for 6 years, and I'm grateful I found it again. And I'm going to read the quote. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. And that is by Leonardo da Vinci. And that idea is still summed up today in just other words. There's one I've heard recently, I've shared other places, that is I judge myself on my intentions and other people judge me on my actions. So just like Mr. Da Vinci said, it's what we do. We have to want to do something is one thing, but then you have to apply yourself. And that's what's been so nice with doing the podcast. And my first grateful thing is that I'm applying myself. I'm grateful to have this outlet. I'm grateful to have found that card. And the third thing I am grateful for is you. Anybody who's watching, my audience, my supporters, the people that know me or have been in my life, anybody in that 7 links of the chain or 7 degrees of separation, I am grateful for anybody and everybody who's been in my life and who's part of my life now. And I'm grateful for the ones that aren't in my life. And that's a very hard one to learn. And that's almost the reason for today's topic, is that going through the healing process and being grateful for my mother when I had her in my life, and being grateful that she is probably in a better place now, or at least not suffering the way I could see her. So there are my 3 things to be grateful for. Now, here's the one I like. Is it recyclable? So this time of year, I'm gonna go off, grab some things. This time of year, everybody's decorating and everybody has these in their house. I didn't tape off the name, but as we decorate and as we empty more boxes and packaging, logo that I brought up on the other podcast, or showed you, that is on some of the things, that is showing, I haven't looked it up yet, but that is showing more prevalent to just being an America type thing, or a United States thing, I think. Again, I haven't looked into it, because as I get into the packaging, like this is from the Philippines, and the packaging from China doesn't have that same, info, recycle to info. But as far as the packaging goes, I didn't even get to it. So this is just a normal cardboard box that some lights came in, and or anything of such, like a individual wrapping inside or something. This is just cardboard, so recycle is cardboard. Now the second half to that same part is what also comes with those spare Christmas lights right here. We've all seen these little packaging, and this led to a good point. There's no instructions on this, but there is the recycling symbol that most of the world is used to, and it has the number in the middle, 04. Well, if you look up the types of plastics, these numbers go from 1 to 7. A number 4 is LDPE. That is a low density polyethylene. That looks like it's in the category with plastic bags, single-use plastic bags. So I am not 100% what to do with this. I'd still have to look this up. You guys know this is live. I kind of just throw it together. I was raised on South Park, so next week's episode, I don't start thinking about till I get done with you guys here. I kind of took a play out of their book. So number 4, plastic bags and such. 1 would be bottles, 2 gallon jugs, 3 PVC vinyl, 4 LDPE, 5 polypropylene, so that's styrofoam straws, 6 polystyrene, that's our single-use packaging at fast food that we used to have that was all styrofoam, terrible. And then 7 is miscellaneous or polycarbonate and more. Now this is, I pulled off of a Reader's Digest picture from the internet, from Google, is the source on that, and it pretty much went across the board that I looked. So that is, if anybody wants to look online, you just Google what numbers of plastic can be recycled, and then it'll give you everything you need. But that's what those numbers are, is that they're actually explaining the breakdown of the plastic, because you can't just put all the plastic together. It's the same with glass. You can't recycle window glass with other glass because of the, if there's paint or like contaminants or the stuff they use on windows specifically. Also, just like you can't recycle borosilicate glass or crystal glass, so like Pyrex, just because it's harder, it's different, it doesn't blend in with the other glass. On to the next piece. And this one has the recyclable. So it's made in China. And I like what they did here. They have a garbage can X'd out. So they're telling you right there, do not throw away. Even if you don't know what the recycling is, you know not to throw it away. So that kind of comes at you from 2 points of view, and I appreciate that. This is just my wireless microphone I got. So that's the, packaging. And then as we get into it, I don't know what I would say about this. This is foam. Did they mean just the outer casing? This is cardboard, but I'm going to write that down. I'm going to look into, so I will report on a mini video before, I'll do a follow-up video by Thursday or Friday, if the packaging is recyclable. I'll get a hold of the company and see what they have to say, do a little bit of dirt on that, and you guys will be getting an update video. So there's that. And this is another one because it seems like everything comes in it, but your generic plastic bubble packaging. And this one I actually could not find anything on it. As far as even what type of plastic it was. Now I know the insert is paper, obviously, some sort of paper, but you want to make a quick look and see. So there is a recyclable symbol, and then there's a safety glass symbol. So it doesn't say don't throw it away, but without knowing, so this blister packaging is, that's it, blister packaging. I knew the name. Yeah, this is probably like a 3 or a 4, so it's in there with, single-use plastic bags, and that's something else I have to ask, but I do know wherever you're at, most box stores, like we have a Meijer next to us, and I think even Walmart might do it, but they have single-use plastic bag recycling points in the entranceways. For people who don't know that, if you live in Michigan, I'm sure anybody right now, when we're done, get up, go to your kitchen, open up, find the cupboard, and you have a plastic bag full of plastic bags. I guarantee you do, man, or else you're not in Michigan. So you're going to take that, and when you get a chance, because you're going to have to do something with that, right? There is where you can find the recycling points. There's a start, Meijer and Walmart. I'll have to add that to my follow-up video, recycling points. Now, as far as centers go in our area, I already have pulled up. We have Padnos, Ottawa County Environmental, and the city of Holland has a residential recycling program that comes up within the first 10 things. And then a lot of the other information you heard me say kind of comes from this refresher as I looked it up. And so the centers, just Google, all I Googled is recycling center, and it got halfway through centers and auto-populated, a million things, and I chose in my area. And there it is. So it's super simple. If you have any questions what to do, I'm sure they'd love to take a phone call. And now you kind of know what they're talking about if they ask the numbers. And that is the end of that segment that I call Is It Recyclable? I wouldn't want to say I'm dragging my feet on the main subject, but I do have one thing I wanted to bring up in case anybody could answer for me. Here, I'm going to grab it right here. So I don't want to show the brand. Again, this is a generic, we'll say a generic snack that you warm up. And I just had an epiphany this past week, and maybe a lot of other people have already had this. But once I open that box, so I have a toolbox at work, and I'll get a couple boxes of said toaster snacks, and I'll dump all of the packaging into my one drawer, and well, I'll be darned at that point. I have no clue what is what, and it's a surprise each time. So if anybody has a way to identify, other than just keeping them separate and not doing what I said I do, somebody's going to respond, oh, why don't you just not mix them together? Well, because that's what I did for a long time, and then they accidentally got mixed together. And then I realized it's Russian roulette on if I'm getting strawberry or chocolate. And I have no way, I can't find a way to identify. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to open them. Now, on to the main topic. Losing a parent as an adult. I'm 38 years old, and it was 4 years ago, July, I believe, that my mother passed away. And I have a full sister who's 3 years older than me, and her and I have recently reconnected a little more and been able to discuss things. And it probably just took this long to get there, but that's why I wanted to bring this topic up, is because I realize if losing my mother affected me how it did, maybe if I talk about it, it'll help somebody who isn't the most comfortable talking about it open up and say, hey, I really am still tore up, or I really am still confused. And it's normal. And I just wanted to remind everybody the normal 5 stages of grief that we're used to as a model by Kubler-Ross. And everybody's heard it, whether you know it by that name or not, probably, but denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I'll say that one more time. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I can't say if anybody out there knows how to get them to go in that order, please reach out. I have an email address, my mental health awareness with faf@gmail.com. I really hope that's my email. And if I just plugged the wrong email for myself, I got to start doing better. So, all jokes aside, no 2 days look the same. No 2 moods are the same. And if you look up any of these things and you look up the grief cycle, it's not gonna go to a T. It's an outline. It's hey, this is a way to break it down. And those are just 5. You can go a lot more than that. I saw a model that had 2 more. There was a 7, so they added to denial and depression. And then there's somewhere they can really break down like each one of these 5 that I'm just looking at. And if you Google, and that's all I'm doing is just the most general Google, stages of grief and loss, is that they have more things broke down. And it helps to be able to identify what you're feeling to then rationalize what you're going through. For me, anyhow, is my experiences as I accept. Well, it's been 4 years, and I'm probably just now getting to acceptance. Denial, I never denied it. Anger started there, but my mother and I's relationship, and her relationship with just about anybody who knew my mother, rest in peace, was usually strained. She was an individual who suffered from mental health issues also, and is probably just a product of an much older upbringing. In her family, it was a family of 9, and there's a big gap in the middle between 5 and the last 3, and then a miscarriage or a stillbirth. I forget how my grandma explained it, but my grandfather passed away when I was 9, and my mom's mom, my grandmother, passed away when I was 16. And so I had a very old family. So there could be a lot of reasons, of course, for anybody that feed into mental health factors and everything that comes with it: depression, anxiety, feelings of longing, loneliness, these are all things that are influenced. And when you can't process, how do I want to put this correctly? I want to choose my words very deliberately to say this. I thought I was never going to be upset when my mom passed away. I was upset my entire life. I knew better to wish her dead, right? I never got so mad. Oh, I just wish she would die. I probably did. Don't quote me on anything. But I'm glad that that wasn't the truth. I'm glad that I've gotten to go through what I've went through when she passed away. And it was unexpected. She wasn't in the best of health. But the realization that when she passed away, I loved and love her and miss her, took a minute to hit, but thankfully it did. I wasn't happy and I didn't stay happy. Luckily, anything like that as a kid, because maybe some of my listeners or viewers have been in those situations, and it's, when we were kids, oh, I can't, we say a lot of, when we're upset, we say a lot of things we don't mean. But when she passed away, I was able to start reconciling some of the issues I have with my childhood for the first time, because she wasn't available for me to ask questions. And I've realized a lot of the stuff that I am still processing, or just now have processed in the last 4 years, are things that weren't my issue at all. They were misleadings, they were wrong stories, they were different points of view on a story, and it was me getting myself worked up over things. Once she wasn't there to keep egging some of these things on, and also myself, because you think I'm, after 34 years, and I was a shithead. Like, dude, my mom and I stole from her. I totaled cars. I never paid rent when I have as an adult child. Granted, I was asked to leave the house at 16 after an incident she wasn't happy with me about, with piercing my ears or something bizarre, and so it was come and go after that. But now, even with all of my issues and shortcomings, now that I'm able to think about some of these things in quiet, and that there's not the input of her, because she was giving input as somebody who was still sick, and not the most healthy, so the input wasn't, and then that eggs me on, and then, or not eggs me on, but then I get triggered and I start having reactions that aren't representative to the situation or what I want the outcome to be. So it's taken 4 years for me to get to where I'm now making this episode and saying I'm accepting that my mother, the hardest part, even if we did fight every time I call her, I can't call her. I cannot I was going to say for the life of me, but like, I don't have to say literally, I don't have to say anything, because it's just a statement of fact. I can't call my mom when I want to. And that's hard. Even without the best relationship, she was still there. The fact that it's not even an option almost makes it even harder. If I have any fellow alcoholics or addicts watching, or anybody who's just stubborn, tell somebody they can't do something and ask them if that made them want it more. So as an adult, I was navigating, 4 years ago, my son was 5. It was a little while. It was a couple years after the separation. The divorce was probably in process, and the last time we had talked wasn't good. We got into an argument on the phone. I remember where I was in the shop, and I just couldn't get her to understand. I didn't actually, that's an issue. I couldn't get somebody to understand. No, then you need to, whatever the argument was, I was unable to apologize or calm her down. And I remember she got really mad and hung up on me. And then I think that was the last time I talked to my mother. And then the next time she came up was when I was being told by my stepmom, who delivered the news that she had passed away unexpectedly. So be sure to understand, time is not guaranteed, and we should be grateful for people when we have them. We should be grateful for the people we don't have, because they can be influencing us negatively. But I really wish I would have been, and not that I was even capable at the time, but for the people that are, for the people out there that might just be able to, haven't talked to their parent in a while, or parents, just reach out and say, hey, hi, how you doing? Just do that. If you haven't, let me inspire you. Let me be your muse to do something healthy today with your mentality. Say a good mantra. Call your parent. Wake up and remember, the first thought you should have is, it's going to be a good day. And if you do that before you even open your eyes all the way, it's gonna be a good day. Just think that and see what happens. But I can't call my mom. I want to. Lord knows I want to call her. Tell her I love her and goodbye. But that's what I'm working on in my life as an adult. And I'm also honing in being a parent. As I was saying before I got off topic, my son was 5 years old. I wasn't in recovery. I've learned that maturity-wise, and I've always made the joke that I identify as a teenage girl. Can't believe I just said that on live. But maturity-wise, I'm stuck at 13, 14 when I started using or doing drugs or drinking. And it's really tough to learn how to cut your teeth trying to be a parent, which you've never done. I've not, this is my first child. And at the same time, trying to navigate the loss of an adult parent who, it wasn't even that old. So I turned 25, she was 50. So if I was, so I think she was 67. And how do you do that? That's another thing that you're not prepared for it until it happens. You don't think about how to navigate it properly and what looks healthy about losing your parent. You don't think, oh man, people think about wills and life insurance, but nobody thinks, who's my support group going to be? Who am I going to grieve to? Who Who's going to know that I'm angry? Who's going to listen to me try to bargain? You know, these times in our lives that we're not ready for doesn't mean they're not going to happen. But we still have some things that we've never experienced. And if you've never lost a parent, it's hard. And for me, it's been a journey, and that journey is what I want to share and what I have shared to do with my mental health, because I have to have grace when I think about her, the same grace that I ask other people to have with me, maybe when I'm being anxious or having a bad day. But now when I, with a clearer focus, when I look back, I have to take that lens of I have to take that lens that I see, that grace that I see her actions from, and I have to put that in front of the memories I have to get to heal from those memories. I have to remember when I look back is that, you know, maybe zoom out some and look at the time around it and what was she going through, right? Because now that I have a parent, or now that I am a parent, now that I have a child, I didn't get the instruction book. I didn't get the manual. Luckily, my son's mother, my ex-wife, is an amazing woman from an amazing family, and he's fine. And I'm still trying to pull my shit together. And I will. Part of that is figuring out how to navigate things I've never navigated. The death of my mother is one of them. Hence why we're here now. I hope me talking about it helps somebody else talk about it. Yes, and grown men do cry. I will. If anybody stays continuing with me on this podcast, you might as well get used to it now. I'm great at it. And we do have feelings, and everybody has feelings, and that's really what I wanted to bring to this week's episode about mental health awareness. Is everybody has their own stuff, and everybody affects people around them, and everybody's affected by people around them, and everybody may grieve differently in the cycle, and everybody might have their own coping mechanisms, and hopefully, you know, I'm speaking of the healthy ones, but we're not all the same, and we're not going to all heal the same, we're not going to grieve the same. And so that's why I wanted to be a voice who's not afraid to cry or crackle a little bit and get out there, because let's face it, I don't know how to work that YouTube algorithm. Tell me how to get money, tell me how to do YouTube money, and I would do it. Okay, I'm not, like, that's beyond me, but I do know how to talk. I do love my camera, and I love sharing my stories. So that is what I'm doing. What I can do, I want to bring something to the people on YouTube that isn't just stuff about how to do YouTube. It's stuff about real life. It's broadcasting myself, and that means broadcasting my story as well. And so I am, right back to the beginning, very, very grateful for everybody watching and everybody in my life. There is a hard lesson that I learned that it's going to be one of my last sharing points before I get off the air at 35 minutes. Right now it says, I've learned from a couple of close friends this past week, and I've always known it, but I had to be told by some people that I would listen to, and I had to learn the hard way, of course, and lost one of them for good. As in future relationships and everything, fine. But the only reason these people told me this is because I had upset them or negatively affected them. And so this week's reminder for myself was that my mental health can be so bad sometimes that's when I have to be aware of how it's rubbing off on the people around me or how it's affecting the people around me. And the longer I bring that into somebody's life, the longer somebody's with you, the more it affects them. And realizing that from the individual that I've known for a couple years to the individual that I've known for 5 years to my dead mom, who I knew for 34 years. I don't remember the first 30. But if you think about mental health being generational, well, so I already have it, genetics, from her. But then her mental health is rubbing off on me, and then now my mental health is rubbing back off on her. And there's no easier way to put it than in life and in mental health and in navigating things we're not used to, there needs to be such a great amount of understanding and acceptance, and other people are people too. And until you have went through somebody else's life in their shoes, I don't think it's a reason to be anything other than kind and courteous. And when it's time that you need somebody, then that's when you'll probably get that payback of, so just make sure to be there, because you never know when you're going to need somebody there for you, is all I'm trying to say. I kind of started through that last one. Oh shit, I don't even have my earrings in. Sorry, I just turned on my camera. So you guys, that is pretty much going to wrap up my 4th episode of my podcast, my mental health podcast. Thank you for sitting with me again, those who did and those who watch in the future. If you haven't already, please like, and if you don't mind, subscribe. Those are all things that are really cool for the YouTube algorithm machine. And my name is Jersey. I hope that I didn't just stop the stream. In regards to this podcast, if you have any questions, if you have any topics, you have the email, I just double checked, is mental health awareness with FAF@gmail.com, and that stands for functional art forms. So mental health awareness with FAF@gmail.com. I would love to be of any assistance if I can, answer any questions. And I want to leave on a positive note of a good holiday season. Remember to treat others how you want to be treated, and remember that you never know what kind of day other people are having, so just be kind. And with that, I'm going to reach over and hit the little button, so like and subscribe. Hashtag functional art forms if you want to donate any money to help me get podcast stuff. Any donations on functional art forms, Cash App is, I'll give a handwritten thank you, but I don't really want that. But I did want to say, and I don't know how to do, so if anybody, I'll do this later. I'll put a little picture right here, right? Like, I'm not going to, but I do have a GoFundMe. It's for $900, and it's to order 50 of these hats. Any donation at my GoFundMe of $25 minimum automatically is a hat order unless otherwise specified. Any other donations are accepted, but it is an order for it is a order payment for 50 of the hats. 25 of this color and 25 of the other, which these are also going to be on sale outside, like if the GoFundMe works and then it gets taken down before, and I use it, then the merchandise will be available. And I am super, super excited to say my son sent me a picture the other day that he is working with the logo on his little computer and he's designing a hoodie. So that was like one of the coolest things I've ever heard. And man, just, I hope everybody has a great day. And thank you so much for letting me do this, and anybody who joins me or is part of it. Oh, I almost forgot. I have to plug. So there was the art fair. I met a lot of cool people. So I told them I got a sticker, Crepes by the Lake. These dudes were cool. Check them out. I think they're going to be in Grand Rapids. This guy, Bear Clan Forge and Textiles. He was awesome. We have Wilder Creek Workshop. I'm going to have them make me a broom. And for anybody who wants to see them, anybody else around here, Kurt's Market Holland on Facebook. And you can see everything. All right. Is that 42 minutes? All right, everybody. I'm going to sign off, and I wish you the best. Have a blessed day. Watch for updates this week, but if not, if you don't tune in before, I will see you Tuesday morning.